It should be.
Mm,
This is like the weekly ritual. Like,
yeah, the
are
magical
we
segment.
audible?
Huh? Yeah, I think we are live and we are audible.
I am not. Oh, now I'm seeing it. Let's check.
Are we audible? Can anyone
Oh, yeah, I
hear
see
us?
we're live on YouTube. Yeah,
You
okay,
see?
it's not loading, but if you say we're audible, then I believe
Um,
you. But
yeah, we are.
yeah,
I
okay,
just checked in a second. So
awesome.
here we
Yeah,
are. So welcome everyone. If anyone is a veteran watcher of streamings of Retrogaming Sasa, you may be wondering what has happened to Alex. He's okay. I am just taking the reins for the first time ever.
mhm.
David here, and we are really, really pleased to bring you for the first time to the continuation of this new politics of Sasa to be playing with the state-of-the-art games. We have been playing Stray Gods, fresh from the month. There is a whole variety of streaming on Saturdays, and so we decided to bring you the very last thing released in 1992.
Yeah,
Because today, people, is retro gaming, isn't it, Alex?
yeah. This game is older than I am. So
Every time you say it, every time I feel
yeah,
old, man. So
I'm not making people feel good here, so I'm sorry about that.
yeah, we can make a whole generational award here today, so don't lose
Mhm.
it, people. And as you can see, we need an emulator just to run it, so that gives you an idea of it. So can you see it well?
I can see it. I'll turn up the volume a little bit of the game itself 'cause it's quite loud, but we can see it.
Okay. Too loud, maybe?
No, it's good now. It's
Okay.
yeah.
So, as you can see, it's again state of the art graphics, and today we are playing with detail and amazingly well developed names and dialogues, as you can expect. So,
Mm.
that those credits down there, that's literally the whole text we are going to find
Wow.
for developing the action.
That's insane, seeing credits of a game that aren't like half an hour long.
And before the game.
And before the game, the way it used to be, like with movies too, but then Star Wars changed it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it's a good point. And I mean, as you can see, the best of the best in landscape
oh
creation.
wow, look at that. So I've never played this. I know nothing about this game except from the one paragraph that David has written about in his contribution to this volume, the classical antiquity video games, one by Christian Rollinger. So as far as I know, you're the only one who's written about this game, who knows this game maybe. Uh, but
Well,
so.
I like to think that developers know a little bit about it, but
Mm,
that can also be controversial because it's like older than 30 years ago. Maybe even they have forgotten about it. I wouldn't
yeah,
blame them. Yeah.
true. So I'm looking up with the developer is a company called First Light. I see,
Mhm.
and it was published by Millennium. They're now Gorilla Cambridge. Wait, are they
Yep.
associated with like the Gorilla Games? Or
For as much as I could discover, because it's not really easy to find information about these things from
yeah.
the past, I my best guess is that yes, they were at least slightly connected. Yeah, I
Oh
don't know to
wow.
what extent or such, but yeah,
Yeah. Look at
yeah.
that.
Actually, the developers of this game were very, very much involved in an embryonic project that eventually will lead to the development of Second Life. But apparently, they tried
Mm.
to do their own version of this project, and it really didn't succeed.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, I mean, we are talking about interesting brains here. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Actually, as a taste of things to come, I am showing something for the young generations. Yeah, that's going to be our running gag today.
That's me.
And those you represent.
Yeah.
Basically, this is something that used to happen a lot with those games. Basically, when you save, there is nothing like a save game. Basically, the game stood there waiting for you when you came back,
Mm.
as this has happened because I was trying it before, of course. So if you quit and save, the game is just there. So what I am going to do is basically restarting it. Sorry
Mhm.
for this amazing technology, and ask it to restart the whole game, or we will never see the intro. So
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah. I mean, you young boys don't know how well you have it. So for one
Yeah, but
second.
that's an interesting point because in like early days of game studies, the entire save game option was controversial at times. Like when because people were saying it's not an actual game anymore. Or
Absolutely.
oh, well, look at
Uh,
that. This is a
mhm.
small time of oh, we're there. Okay, heck then. Nothing ever happens here beyond the usual Roman sit in debauchery. Your name is Hector. Doctor, and you're just like,
It wasn't a joke back then.
I mean, I guess it would be. Uh, wow.
So, yeah, sure. The dialogue.
One day your master sends you on
Send
an
you on an
errand.
errand. So Slave takes this message, goes to Felonius, the consul,
Erroneous.
far west of the yeah. There's going to be a lot of that here.
Yeah.
Um, so 2 points here in case. One, the real beginning of the story is that you have to be a messenger man, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And second, I like to say about this game, just to explain to new generations, that there is a lot of vibes here of Pokemon. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean with the map, though
Oh
graphics are
yeah, yeah,
comparable.
yeah.
And for those who have played it, I think there is also quite a philosophy of Monkey Island here because
Mm.
they it is not a serious game as not in the academic way, but basically it's full of jokes and self-conscious the humor. Something that, in
Yeah.
my opinion, has been quite lost lately in games. I don't remember very recent games that had a lot of humor apart from Stray God.
Well, there was Immortals: Phoenix Rising.
Hmm.
That was rather comedic. Then there, Hades also has its humorous moment. And I think the humor is more an indie thing now than it is commercial AAA.
Yes,
Uh,
it's true.
I mean, but I guess before like the intense formalization of the game industry in the '90s, like every game was indie. But
Oh
But
wow,
yeah,
yeah, that part.
that's the thing that you also see with like scholarship. Like people focus on what makes the ancient world violent in games, but they don't
Mhm.
focus on what makes it fun to play or like funny to play or what the jokes that are getting being made.
Actually what made games fun. Like for example, getting to this kind of term, I am stealing the toga to some
Mm.
guy bathing just because you can.
Mm.
You know,
Hmm.
this I really love this kind of things.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder why comic games are not a genre anymore because I mean,
Mm.
at the end of the day, it's playing.
I mean, I think they are a genre still. Like you have games like Total Accurate Battle Simulator, or there's like Among Us. I mean, it's not really a comedy game, but people use it to make comedy, or
Hmm.
uh, like Quiplash and things like that. But it's not as easily defined as what a comedy movie is, or like a comedy TV show is. Like it's something very different. Um,
Actually, it's that's an interesting point because now even nowadays we can understand that something is a comedy, so you watch it and you don't expect amazing quality.
mhm,
And that's something that really amazed me back then in the dark times of the 90s because playing things like Monkey Island, for example, there were amazingly creative and innovative ideas in a
mhm,
game that was not supposed to be serious. It was
yeah,
pure mockery. So
mhm,
a lot of things have changed.
yeah,
Yeah, just to show a little bit the amazing hat and dynamics we are going to enjoy here today. Um, Essentially, we are going through Herculanum because we have
mhm,
this command and we have this amazing package of tools that we can use.
all right,
Basically, our message, the stolen toga, and all the actions that we can do, which is basically inquire, threaten, and greet. Why
mhm.
more? I mean, that's essentially life.
That's what game designers think Romans do.
Yeah, and well,
Yeah.
and this is personally my favorite one because who is basically to get some information about characters, which sometimes is really
Benedictus
interesting.
Benedica.
Never underestimate the gods. Sometimes these kind of characters have names that are, let's say, not particularly age well, but
Yeah.
yeah, but other times they really get hilarious. And
Mm.
I must say, every time I play this game, I take some time to explore different sections of this town. But, half a spoiler, I am getting a little bit straightforward to our first mission because this game has something that is totally forgotten in nowadays games, which is a background countdown that you know nothing about. Do you remember that?
A background counter, like
Uh,
like oh yeah, like in the Forgotten City, like like the day
exactly.
progresses and yeah.
I mean, it
Uh,
doesn't matter what you do. There is something going on at one moment, whatever you have done or where you are, it's happening.
mhm.
So it's on you. So we are enjoying this amazing landscape creation. I really wonder how did they come to the solution of this cube for the place everywhere. It's so interesting.
At the cube, you mean like the
Yeah, you know the this horizon background thing with the
it's
mountains is like
it reminds me a lot of Populous,
yeah,
like like the you have sort of this. explorable virtual world, but it's a rectangular shape from like an isometric perspective. I guess it's it's would it have to do with loading?
It could be, although you're going to see that it's going to get a little bit bizarre later. But personally, I think that it's basically to simplify the weight and processing, because loading, as you say, because essentially every landscape, wherever you are, is essentially this square and no more. And any
Hmm.
simplified image makes it. So yeah, probably that, and also probably the possibility that they didn't really know how to make a Roman background, so an
Yeah.
image makes it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I will make my case much stronger later, but I don't want to make spoilers. I mean, this is a brand new game, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Nobody knows how it ends.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because yeah, nobody knows what's going to happen. Not too many
Yeah.
people has tested this, but yeah. And so we delivered this message to Felonius, the consul, and he's really, really happy and greeting. So you have done well, mention this, and he gives us 3 sex turkey just because we have done a good work.
Uh-huh.
And as every natural gamer, we don't come back to our master because A, we are an ambitious slave, and this is Herculanum. So because of no apparent reason, I am going to the harbor.
Hmm.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Uh,
So, in case anyone is wondering, no, there is no music in this game. Another interesting feature of the old times, because at the end of the day, this kind of products were developed and released in weeks sometimes. So, music was not that important, at least if your expectations was to be moving in this tube all the time.
hmm.
I mean, sometimes we will be able to hear something music-ish, but essentially it's all silence, and suddenly some or one or two things that are surprising because they consider it to be important to make a water sound or some trumpet sound in the background just for the environment. But essentially it's perfect if you want to hear a Spotify list.
I mean, that's what man people do, right? Like they play Call of Duty, they play League of Legends, but they turn off the game volume, and then they set up they start a YouTube dubstep mix for 2 hours. And I also think gaming is a difficult job. I mean,
Mhm.
game designing is a difficult job in and of itself, but composing is an entirely different thing.
Absolutely.
Like you can be a game programmer or like character modeler, but like yeah, a composer is not usually the skill set that you learn in game design. I think. I
And
mean,
I mean, hiring one just for a game which is like 2 hours long top is, I guess, is not worth it.
yeah, this picture of this guy is really disturbing.
Yeah,
Would
exactly. The
sell his
shadows are
own
not
mother
well placed. Yeah.
if he hadn't already killed her. Like this reminds me of the guy. What's his name in Forgotten City? Dikius or
Who was
like
that?
like the merchant who you're supposed to buy the silphium
Oh,
from.
yeah.
Yeah,
Controversial design, to say the least. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
And I'm just showing this peculiar looking guy because basically to show a little bit the spirit behind this game. Because essentially the first brilliant move that we are supposed to make is to take the 3 630 that we have now and use them to buy a place in the boat because suddenly we want to sail because of reasons in Herculanum.
Hmm.
But just in case we are fooling around and we decide to buy something like a dagger, because this guy only sells weapon,
Uh huh.
and one way to make our way to gain money for the ship is to go around the streets and steal people, plain and simply, like robbing them in some corner. And it takes a little bit longer. And just for the sake of our health, I am going directly to the ship because this is the countdown.
Oh wow, there's yeah. The sky darkens is pretty. I wonder what's gonna happen.
Yeah, who could know?
Yeah, who could know?
Yeah.
What year is this?
Well, that's controversial also, but
Yeah,
apparently, yeah,
I mean the month is debated, I guess, but
exactly.
yeah.
So where are you going? Just inside, please. That's what this character says all the time. If you click on him, basically he says, I say, but says nothing.
Mm,
So basically,
I have spoken.
exactly.
Mm.
Um, Please, sir, can we escape from a certain death? For a price, of course. So what there is this possibility when you buy the dagger to try to threaten him, and I have the theory that it's a random choice because sometimes he simply moves away, sometimes he simply says no, no way. So
Yeah, yeah. So this is like when you first see this game, like my immediate, like also because of the Populous connection, my immediate like response was, oh, it's like a strategy game, but it's not. Like it's more adventure, but in a told in it like it's the visuals are a
Hmm.
bit different.
I will say adventure, but it's kind of difficult just to use some current tags on this kind of game
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, this game has the mindset of the social progress thing. So you are a slave and through the most very
Oh
epic.
wow,
You see? Yeah,
who could have thought?
yeah,
The ship
that's a
leaves
plot
the
twist.
Doomtown.
Mm.
It's one of his shipmates, Pliny.
Yeah, there was this old guy doing strange things in another ship.
Yeah. But I could see why you liken it to Pokemon a bit. Like, and
And
especially
of course,
the music as well, like the
yeah, it's so catchy.
Vesuvius grip at last arrives at the great city of Rome itself. The hour is near. And so
The
the
hour.
countdown is throughout the entire game.
Kind of for different activities that essentially, if you miss some of these, there is always a second chance or a cycle
Yeah.
activity so you can handle it.
All right. What'll happen next?
What happens next? I wonder what happens next.
All
This
right.
is the
This
kind of humor.
yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I miss this kind of things.
Yeah. No, I. Oh. Wow, okay. Whoa.
The-
That's a choice.
yes, exactly. This is my point. Basically, I just think they chose some image that they randomly found in some encyclopedia
Yeah.
and use it for this because I mean this is wrong. And wait for night, but so this is a big
I
city.
was
I
gonna
shall go.
say
Sorry.
I was gonna say they probably typed in Rome on Google Images, but Google Images in 1992 was.
Exactly.
I mean,
And I mean, at the end of the day, choices when you were looking for a ROM or image ROM in essentially books that you can digitalize and that they could be copyright free was not a great
yeah,
concern back then.
true.
So basically, they opened some book and said this one because it's ROM, probably some Renaissance stuff.
Hmm.
So containing for a second the urge of this character to run around Rome, I think the map is really interesting concerning Rome, even more
Really?
Pokemon vibes, if,
Yeah. Wow.
if you know what I mean.
I'm gonna wait full screen. Uh,
Sure.
Colosseum, of course.
Hmm.
I mean, I mean, it is time. It is accurate.
Quite
To
so,
the
yeah.
tavern, temple, theater, senate, form, hostel. Is it youth hostel? Tavern, temple, baths. Okay, so we get all the usual suspects here.
Exactly. I mean, yes. Actually, this is the moment and the years when the usual suspects were there, including, of course, this. This is when you see that
Slave
games
auction.
age different. Actually, not
Yeah.
only is there a slave auction, there is a slave auction every now and then, and it's a must for us to progress. But let's fool around
Mm,
a little bit before, because I really like the definition. The usual suspects are here everywhere. I mean, look at the designs. It's going to be exactly the same red roof and exactly the same columns all around the place. And this is my personal favorites. Everyone is a citizen, a job as a wife, and it's called Claudia or something like that.
hmm It's
Those
like
sometimes.
Watch Dogs. Every NPC is unscrupulous.
But
Right. Yeah.
sometimes, yeah. And I'm really eager to show you the names of senators when they come because they are the best.
Hmm.
But step by step, um, yeah, I will start with the run thing, or this will never end. This is this is the most annoying part of the controls and gaming in this game. I mean, I am not
Yeah.
demanding big thing, but every time you want to change something because you thought back, everything gets back to the main screen. So it's quite slow to progress. Probably we are not progressing
Yeah.
so much, so we are fooling around.
But it's playing games like these is like how you find out how spoiled you are like today, or like how much, like how fast things have got in the meantime, with the
Absolutely.
loading and with the the way the game works. um Hey there, Blondie.
Blondie, of course, one way or another. This is actually one of our possible sources of income because essentially the objective in this game is to progress socially. Actually, if you
Hmm.
really dig into the game, you can even get to be an emperor. Spoiler, but this is basically all about the social progression in the good old American way here. So
Hmm.
from
Yeah.
slave to emperor through my talent and of course cheating, because this is
Yeah.
all about. Actually, there is a moment in the game. I don't really remember where we are going to fight against my memory as well here. But at some point, this character is able to get some cheating dice, so you can win all the games. So this is
Oh
basically the
wow.
talents that you have to develop.
Uh-huh.
I find it tremendously accurate that there is more than one tavern. Not usually the case in many modern games. There's always
No, that's
one.
true. Yeah.
Mhm.
Always one
Many
where you can get the drinks and then the screen starts getting boozy. Everything.
precisely. And this is the slave auction.
Mm-hmm.
So not my personal favorite in any game, but necessary for the plot here because basically, uh, after gaining some money, probably cheating in the dice, is I have to find the dice, the rigged one, but we will have to auction and buy some slave. It's going to be mandatory. We will see why. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I think it's much more interesting to fool around, especially to see how many things have changed.
Yeah.
Is let's go to the Senate. Is my personal favorite part here. Let's go.
And so wait, so I'm a
Mhm.
bit confused. So can you walk around the entire? I mean, are you sort of teleporting to thing, or is it just like a fully open world, but a bit different?
It's fully open world, but in the 1992 way. But the
Yeah,
good
yeah,
thing
yeah.
about this, which I really like, is that the map can be used to mark the destination. So if I tell the character to go to the Senate, I can get back to main screen,
Oh,
and he's moving automatically,
all right.
which is
Yeah. Okay.
really handy.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I miss that thing in Assassin's Creed, for example. So here we have some
Games memories.
representative,
Too.
one of the consuls, mhm,
Yeah.
because he and Felonius are to be consuls this year.
He was.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Get used to that because yeah, it's
Yeah.
happening. And
It's good.
okay, they are not already in a meeting. Okay, I really liked something. Oh, okay, slave girls. Here we are. The commentary sometimes can get a little bit bad aging again.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes interesting because they include these
Cheat
kind of
code.
things.
Yeah.
Typish, yeah, you
Mm.
know what I mean. Time has
Yeah.
passed, and
I
some
mean,
other
yeah.
times. I'm sorry.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
Some other times it's fascinating because you see how little did they care about demands and suits by from other companies. I will say no more until you see it. So yeah, we have to get the read dice, and if I
Hmm.
remember well, that has to be in some tavern. Let's try the tavern or the hostel. It was a place like that.
Hmm.
So essentially, the idea is that you find different sources of income, so you get richer and richer, and so you have more possibilities to either buy a slave or gain money exploiting your slave. We will see how, etc.
Uh-huh.
And to take the chance when the chance shows up to get greater favor from people who are making you either richer or simply, let's say, more influential. I won't spoil anything because, as if possible, we will discover chronology is not really important here, as many things are not, like unos, dos, tres, because Latin and Spanish are so close, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
chronology is not yeah, it's usually not that important, but this is an accurate setting for to have the Colosseum, unlike Rise, Son of Rome.
Yeah, quite so. Actually, it's interesting because at the beginning we have a very clear time marker, then we have the Colosseum, so everything is coherent
Yep.
until. But sometimes we have Odious, the poet
Odious.
actor, and sometimes we have Idus Martius.
No, yeah. A
Yeah,
morning mini, if ever I saw.
a soothsayer.
The soothsayer.
Yeah, the brainstorming of these things were or unscrupulous because, of course, a
It was.
moneylender has to. So not precisely subtle jokes,
No.
but hey, no, come on, where is the? Okay, I wonder if it's inquiring. Yeah, it's because you exactly they're playing dice and some guy gives you a dice and it happens to be a very very lucky dice if you know what I mean. But and I'm wondering if just because I don't remember it, this will be the end of the game. No, we are fooling around. No problem. I It's very cool because I remember the first time I played this game was many many years after it was a thing because
Hmm.
essentially it was in English and back then not many games were translated. And first time I played it, I discovered that it has a lot of English expression. All the times people is saying vale vale vale, which is Latin of
Mm.
course, but in Spanish it's basically like saying okay. So all the
Oh
time it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
what the
That's cool.
okay, let's go. I think it's the hostel then.
Hmm.
Oh, come on, please. Let's be the hostel. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes it's surprisingly okay, not accurate, but interestingly well developed because you see the status on columns, and that's like, yeah, correct.
Yeah,
And sometimes you see stuff like that's surprisingly similar or like a lot of homework done, and obviously they didn't do any homework, it's just that they knew about it. So I can imagine that there is a lot of influence of many peplums and many movies back in
yeah.
the popular
No.
culture back then. Let's
I
see.
mean, yeah, we have all the the typical icons and symbols of
Mhm.
Rome, I guess, but also at the same time not in a way. I don't know, like I don't
Right.
know, like in a way, it also feels like it could be something. I don't know. It, it,
It's quite puzzling
it
that sometimes it's like original, though it's not.
yeah, it's like it's subtle in a way as well. Like it isn't like Assassin's Creed where you have this, one statue and it's pasted 30 times in the same. It's yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah, you will learn to hate this guy, I tell you. Problem is that he's one of our most solid sources of income, and that's interesting in this game.
Mhm.
Something also interesting that every time I try one of these old classics, I can help thinking is that at the end of the day, much of the you see Nubila the
Honest in Latin,
priestess,
yeah.
hmm yeah, because sometimes it's interesting because sometimes the cultivated people like the priests and priestesses and even some senators start speaking in real Latin. It's very interesting.
Yeah, you don't have that. I mean, you don't have that much anymore. I think
Yeah,
it's it's but
Origins maybe some Latin.
or
I don't
I mean,
remember.
yeah, you have it for like NPC characters,
Hmm.
I guess, but like, and for like small utterances, like the entire Malacca thing,
Hmm.
but then like, or you have like scribbled, like in the Forgotten City, with the inscriptions and the graffitis, and stuff like that. But then, oh
Hmm.
wow,
Yeah. Oh,
is
sorry.
that
I went wrong.
actually of it? Or
1 second. I think I can inquire her again. I mean, she's not doing anything special. So, as she literally. Oh no.
oh no.
Yeah.
No, I'm okay. Maybe
Mm.
no. The stream doesn't lag, so
Yeah.
I can't watch it on my phone. But I'm gonna look it up because I think it says "Oh Latona" at the beginning, but
Mm, one
I don't think it's
second.
actually of it. But it would be awesome if it was.
Greetings, sir.
Mm,
It's because I think it's the kind of prompts that appear randomly because the NPCs are moving around.
yeah.
But yeah, that was unfortunate. Sorry.
No,
Oh,
no, it's just fine. Yeah.
maybe.
Oh wait, did I miss it again? Oh god, I was looking it up. Maybe on the phone I can
Oh,
pause it.
hey, I would have never guessed that this will be the kind of streaming that people will watch again and stop at one frame.
No, yeah. I mean, pause it on my phone. I'm gonna type it in and see if you can find anything.
This is triggering research. Really amazing.
That's it. Oh, you should have seen me when we did the origins and there were Greek text and we found that it basically they used some random person's blog on Pythagoras and they copy pasted that.
Millions of dollars invested, huh?
It's a song.
Is it?
It's an existing. It's Catullus.
Wow.
It's Catullus.
I mean,
It's Catullus 34, I think. Let me check.
damn. Where is them?
Uh,
At the end of the day, everything goes
yeah,
down to trying to find your guys. Sorry.
it is Catullus.
But
Catullus 34 in Latin.
wow. I mean, probably they got some textbook and used it, but wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot.
yeah, I didn't know that. I'm gonna
I
put
hadn't noticed so far.
I'm gonna put a link to the uh, poem in the chat and an English translation as well. Uh,
Okay, come on. Where was the dice? This is another thing that has really changed with the pass of time because more or less, I guess we all have seen sometimes looking for some help in YouTube or whatever for a moment where we are blocking a video game. But back
yeah,
in the time, well, that didn't even exist, you know.
no, you're right. That's the thing I wanted to talk about as well. Like how games used to be much more difficult or harder, like not necessarily like in a Dark Souls type way, but like just finding things and
Exactly.
and if today I play Phoenix Rising and I get stuck on one of the things, I just look it up on IGN, uh, and it's like, because I don't want to be stuck with it. Like, and also I think that the culture around it has changed. Like nowadays, if you pay 70 or 80 euros to buy a game, you want to play it and you want to finish it. It's and game designers make their games easier, or like give you hints. Like I remember how angry I was when in God of War 2005, like it asks you, you want to turn down the difficulty? I'm like, no, I'm gonna I'm gonna do it, even if it takes me 200 times. I'm gonna do it. But it's like games today, they get, are different
um,
in that respect.
maybe I mean, everyone playing, and gamers, as they used to say, have changed the perception of games from the old perception of a challenge. I mean, nowadays the challenge
Yeah.
thing is especially associated with the final boss and how good you are in
Yeah.
this cyclic fighting and so on. But this kind of stacking the story and discovering what is the key or the catch has quite disappeared. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we all enjoy that the tutorial or all through the game is telling us where to go and what to do very
Mhm.
obviously.
But also like the, oh, more Latin. Two is it the same?
Sorry.
No, it's the same text. It is still Catullus. It's a different
Sorry, one
stanza.
second.
No, but yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
people used to say like I beat the game, and now they say I finished or completed the game. Like it's different. I think, yeah, games are less, the challengey things that you mentioned. They're more like, they've taken a place more similar to movies and TV shows. I think where you
sometimes
just
even
finish it.
books.
But
Actually, it's taken for granted nowadays that you are going to finish a game,
yeah.
especially in the time that you are playing it, that week, two
Hmm.
weeks, whatever. Back then, I especially remember it with my very much more dearest Nintendo NES, first love of my life, and I perfectly remember that finishing a game was not taken for granted.
uh,
Actually, sometimes you simply left it,
yeah.
and one day maybe you wanted to try again.
Or like you didn't even
It's quite
know that, for example, you didn't even know that there were hidden levels or what else you could try out. Like nowadays, you can sort of find out online, of course, but you can also see like achievements, like something you've missed somewhere. But that was completely
exactly.
different. I've got and I bought an NES like a while ago, in pretty good condition, and I got like Kid Icarus, but I couldn't get it to work. But if we were able to stream something like that, and not be angry that I can't get past the first level, uh, that would be cool.
Actually, I always use, again, like a grandfather repeating the same thing, but I always use Metroid as the archetypical
Mm,
example of that,
yeah.
because Metroid was a game designed by some insane mind in which literally you can play for infinite redundancies, and because you can resurrect and be different in every new
Uh-huh.
iterance, and in every new one you can discover new and new levels, because the whole thing, the whole place was progressively growing up,
Hmm.
because it was designed not to have any particular ending. You could simply one day destroy one piece of the floor
Hmm.
and discover that there is a whole underground new level that you didn't know about for
Yeah.
years. So personally, I must say that it was enjoyable, because at the end of the day, okay, I don't want to say it's a matter of value or price or whatever, because we didn't think like that, especially when you're a kid.
Yeah.
But
You're right.
it had a lot to do with, oh, this is bigger, so more to discover. That was the
Yeah.
point,
No, you're right.
discovery many times. And yeah, I am starting to get nostalgic. Sorry.
No,
So
I mean it's just retro gaming. Retro gaming is nostalgia. I
yeah,
mean,
that's the point. Okay, it has to be one of these guys that gives me the magical dice, because greetings, because here they are losing their money on dices, and they are an essential part for you to start making some money. What's this throw? Mm-hmm. Oh, come on. Oh, you know, this is bad when it happens to you alone, but when you are streaming, it's even worse.
oh, you should have seen me when we did Scubma. I hated myself then. Like I couldn't get the jumps right. Like the controls didn't work that well for me, and yeah, uh, it's one of my great shames
The-
on this channel.
oh, the jumping thing.
No, that was horrible. I mean,
It's fascinating.
from my end, not the game. The game itself is fantastic. You should definitely play Scubma. But
I like that one. That was a
Yeah,
really
it's really
nice
good. Did
experience.
you see like the Toroa is in a demo now today? Like it's a game by or about like you know, New Zealand and Maori
Oh no,
culture.
Toroa. I didn't
Toroa,
know.
it looks fantastic. I haven't. It's like you play as a bird and you fly around and that, you know, that they have a
Oh, cool.
gameplay system built around that. That sounds fantastic.
Oh wow, it's okay. Probably not comparable, but it's kind of Chia, or it's
It's
not same.
yeah. I mean, it's same. I mean, similar location, but it's
Hmm.
a completely different gameplay.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Being a bird. I like that one. It's a pity because I have noticed that many of these kind of experiential games, yeah,
From
from
Pio
the process.
Leprosius.
Job assassin.
It's different from Ezio, but okay.
Yeah. Let's say maybe more realistic. Who knows?
Yeah,
Uh,
I
and
mean,
sorry.
if I was Leprosius, I would also be from Pio, I think. But go ahead.
Actually, yeah, it's just a stupid thing. I was just thinking that at the end of the day, this kind of experiential games like Flying Like an Eagle and so on are starting to be exclusive for VR, and I think it's a pity because I really like this kind of other way of playing, not simply the avatar and so on.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, you're still an avatar, but it's a different
Yeah.
type of avatar.
Mhm.
But it's yeah. There are there. I don't know of any like VR bird games.
I can remember a couple of them when VR started to be a thing that
Oh
basically do
yeah.
eagle or something like that, flying
Hmm.
around.
Yeah.
But I always remember Jambicus Pentametrus, of course, poet actor.
I mean, but these are like very niche references. This is, you
Yeah,
know, they've done their work. Like it's
either
not just, you know, Gaius Lucius. Like yeah, that's cool.
maybe they had some friend who knew about this stuff and just asked for
Yeah,
info, but it's really cool. Yeah.
no, that's nice.
I mean, I know I'm the right way because that Leprosius, the assassin, is one of the guys involved in the DICE games every time, but I cannot believe I am having Moxius Funes.
Lucius.
Uh, yeah, Road Sheep Sweeper.
Yeah.
But I know that that guy is involved in me getting in the DICE game. So until
Hmm.
I can get into my gambling addiction, we are just fooling around. So I will discover. Of course, the aqueduct.
The
Actually,
demo
it's
play. Oh yeah.
it's really cool because you see this straight line here. This is the whole
Sure.
aqueduct all through the city.
Oh, I didn't catch that earlier. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's quite cool. I tell you, sometimes it's like, hey, really, guys, well done for this
Yeah.
game.
No, I mean, I think we tend to think like when there's like games in the 90s or 80s, like, oh, they could already do that, or like though they have this, but like, at the time this was, I guess, revolutionary. Flatulous. Never
Flatulence,
mind
of
what I
course. Hey,
said.
let's go. Revolutionaries.
I mean, we don't have
Uh,
that anymore.
it's
I mean,
true.
we did have testicles in Odyssey, so
Yeah.
I guess we do have it. But
But I like the impunity of this because at the end of the day, the testicles thing is outstanding because it's one. Here's basically
mm,
like all
yeah,
around.
yeah, yeah. No, you're right.
Quite
It's a
like it.
more playful approach. Like, it's less serious than, yeah, you know, maybe
And
contemporary games.
that thing you were saying is quite spot on because I can't help feeling that some way, probably in the change of century, there has been such a great disconnection between how games used to be and how they started to be. Better
Hmm.
graphics and so on, better engines, and it's like there has been an enormous forgetfulness or enormous lack of connection with the games before and after the big technological revolution. So sometimes it's really surprising because, as you said, we
Hmm.
imagine that these games were simply basic and silly, but no, sometimes they have
Yeah.
achievements. Not
No,
this guy, of course.
I might be wrong here, but I think I've read some articles, you know, about I've read some articles about games and comedy, and I think some of them said that the closer you get to photorealism, or like the more realistic games become, the less funny they became as well.
Hmm.
You know, it's, if you have something like this, which, you know, looks a bit you know, it obviously doesn't look fully realistic in a way, like it's a bit, then it's easier to make it comedic.
Mhm.
Whereas if you have something that's obviously realistic, like, you can have some jokes, of course, but it might break the experience more if you know, have it being as infinite or continuous as you say. And I think, you know, what we mentioned Phoenix earlier as another comedic game. It's also a game that doesn't look that. I mean, it's meticulously detailed, but it's not realistic. It's more cartoony and Zelda like in a way. Um,
Kind of the uncanny valley applied to games at the end of the day.
yeah, it's. I mean, the kind of valley applied to comedy, I think.
Hmm.
And maybe also because they nowadays are so focused on getting the photorealism right that they get they are more serious.
Yeah,
And comedy is something that many people can like it, but other people can also absolutely hate it. And if the jokes aren't good, this looks like this
uh,
is gonna oh, it is Dionysus. Now
it's
I
very
saw.
nice and it's night for some mysterious
Oh, all
reasons.
right.
So
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
I told you it's pretty surprising what they do with the backgrounds. Yeah.
Yeah. uh, so yeah, I don't know what I was saying, but it's
Sorry, no wonder.
no, it's what was I saying? Like yeah,
Serious and
yeah. So
cannibali and
I think I made the point I was I was trying to make. So yeah, but this is cool. The Bacchus painting reminds me of the what's his name uh from
what?
Teen Titans, like the one with green
Um,
hair. I don't know.
um, yeah, I know what you mean. Names and me, but yeah, I follow
Let me
you.
look it up. What's he called?
Okay, since obviously my memory is not good enough as to remember how to get the rig dice, let's fool around a little bit more because let's see if the Senate is together at
It's
night.
a Beast Boy. That's what he's called.
This and actually, oh yes, now, yeah, please agree. I really want to roll a dice. There we go. Because this is the happy fellows that are rolling the dice with me. So four successes. I don't get them. You got to throw six to win,
Red
or
thing.
so I don't have money. You have to count on me out. Damn. So I need to find money some other way. Let's see if I am lucky anywhere around. That's the open world thing of this game. That this is the, let's say, the main plot, if there is
Hmm.
such a thing here. But there is side ways to try to make some money, cheating or fooling around. That's why
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end of the day, there is not a linear gaming here. I don't dare to say this is a sandbox. It's not technological enough for a sandbox,
Hmm.
but the spirit is there. It's like,
Yeah.
how is the perfect citizen wife called? Domestica, of course.
Domestic.
And following people sometimes, though creepy, can be really, profitable because you discover little sub stories that you can, take some benefit from.
Hmm.
This is what I'm trying to do. But as you probably have noticed, those skillful gamers looking this, it's really hard to control this game. It's one of the greatest flaws.
Yeah.
Um, you tell the character to do something, and he has ideas of his own.
It's what's it called? Avatar autonomy, I think. Like
It's the forefathers of AI, just that it
mm,
does what it wants.
I think
You
it's
know,
the grandparents of.
yes.
Like,
Uh, and as every grandparent, they do what they want, of course. Okay. Yes, let's go to the barracks. I can. Oh no, maybe this is the one. 1 second. I am just. Oh, it's Nubila again. No, you never get anything from this character. I tried. I tried. So, what I was. Oh yes, that the seriousness of games and the amazing photorealism and graphics nowadays, I don't know why they have to be incompatible. Sometimes I really wonder if, this pretension of being serious and
mm,
hyper realistic is just that video game industry is accepting a policy of just one challenge. Either we get realistic or we get good plots
yeah.
or we get good dynamics, but not everything together. And I don't know why.
No, I don't think they were necessarily oppositional like Grand Theft Auto 5. I think
Yeah,
it
precisely.
is still a very good looking game after 10 years, but it's also a funny game, and so it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but I think it somehow is. It did become that. I don't know why exactly, but
Hmm.
it's an interesting development.
And let's be honest, at the end of the day, you can get as photorealistic as you want, but if Pokemon has shown us something, is that
Mhm.
graphics at the end of the day didn't really matter that much.
No, I mean, it depends on how you define matter. I think it's you know I think most many people will agree that gameplay is more important. Like it's about what you do, and we've played many games that don't have you know, maybe the best graphics per se, but have good gameplay and that they're enjoyable. But at the same time, it's like you want you want that good gameplay to be sort of encompassed or like enveloped in like a envelope of nice graphics, I guess. Like it's
But
I don't know,
again,
like for example, I remember RuneScape, like the old one. Like the game was fantastic. The graphics weren't good. I mean, it was good for the time, but it wasn't like anything special or like World of Warcraft at the time. But it was so enjoyable. But if you see something like Call of Duty now, like it's basically the same game every single year. But the graphics are the thing that changes. Oh, we have Diana. Is this because it's night now or?
first, basically night and starting to be like really dark. The moment to for crimes and all that.
Oh
Also
well,
very interesting for us.
yeah. It's a shame Kate's not here. Uh,
Yeah. Yes. Hey, maybe we can go for a sequel for another retro gaming.
Yeah, I mean,
Why not?
we can do this like like we can like retro gaming events where each time we play like a different like retro game or something like that. That would be fun.
Yeah. Next time, I promise to go for a whole playthrough before
No,
you know.
because
But
I mean,
hey,
you can see the difference like with when did SPQR come out?
oh, that actually not really far away from this one. I
No,
think this
it's
was
what was it?
92 too.
Darkest Hour? Is it? It's 1996.
Six. Okay, 4 years.
And that one, so I remember that one is like it is like more 3D open world, but it's like you have to
Ish.
click. Yeah, ish, but it's like you have to click every single like it's like specific like paintings in a way that you sort of.
Hmm.
It's not really painting, but like the it's more like a point and click. No, not really point and click. Like you have to click to get through the different environments.
Huh.
You can see like that's only 4 years later than this. So
I,
yeah,
I guess it's the pure definition of a transitional period because at the end of the
yeah,
day, the late 90s were literally that.
exactly.
So they were looking for something they probably didn't have very clear what was the aim. So they
Yeah.
were, trying, which actually makes it quite interesting and fascinating to see video games, especially in the 1998, 9,
Hmm.
etc., because you can perfectly see how ideas are crashing and so on. But knowing in retrospective what's going to happen is really interesting.
Yeah.
It's worth of analysis sometimes.
No, that's true. And we actually don't have anything. I mean, we don't have like a big analysis of like the history of antiquity in games. Like we have the chapter you wrote like I think that's a very like good I think that's the only thing we have right now that does something like that.
Well, that volume in general is amazing because
Yeah.
yeah, well, there is of course, yeah, we are not being fair. There is Ross and his amazing thesis, of course,
Hmm.
and but yeah, I mean, this is being built up right now, literally.
Yeah.
And is this the moment when I can sneak into the villa because there is this villa of a rich guy and has a war during the day, but during the night, as you can see, very repeatedly, he's snoring. But
Yeah,
I
the
don't know.
Romans wouldn't have snored with Zeds. They didn't like this.
Hey, good point. Very good point. How did they play the snoring? Hey, how were the snoring sounds in Roman comics? That's a question for a paper.
What is the word for snoring in Latin? I don't know.
Hmm. Now that you
Let me
say.
find the
And this is
snore.
the kind of questions that only video games trigger.
Yeah. Uh,
I see.
stertere, apparently.
Oh, okay. Ah, estertor. Oh, makes sense. Oh, beautiful. I
What is
love
it in
etymology.
Spanish?
Sorry?
What is it in Spanish?
Estertor is a word in
Oh,
Spanish basically to say when you are trying to breathe and you, so basically it's
oh,
related.
okay, interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's stertere. I didn't know that.
Estertor. That's beautiful.
There's also sternutere. Uh, I
What,
think
what is that?
uh, it's the same, but it's a frequent. Sorry, it's sternutare. Sternutare. It's the frequentative of it. Like it's
Oh,
to sneeze violently or repeatedly. It's translated.
that's exactly what I was thinking. I don't know why I didn't know that because in Spanish, estornudar is a sneeze. So it's
Oh,
literally the son
okay.
of that.
So
I love
sneezing
those
and
things.
snoring are the same then, or
Well, probably
similar,
someone
or
just took the words when they didn't know they had a different
yeah,
origin
yeah,
and
yeah,
just,
okay, good point.
yeah. Development of languages. What is this? Fuck it. I just want to say this. Oh, it's really funny to imagine the development of all that just because of a mistake after
Mm,
another.
yeah. That's the entire Pandora's box thing. Uh, so,
I, so a very interesting case in point in this game, you see Apollo Sun is rising,
mhm.
of
Oh, wait, that's
course.
Apollo?
Yeah, that was the original idea. That should be Apollo-ish.
I thought it was like a medieval like church girl or something. I didn't. That was Apollo. Okay, now I get it.
You see why I've been trying to chase and find the developers for months
Yeah,
because yeah, a
yeah,
lot of questions, you know.
yeah. Mm.
And it's what I was saying. Sorry, yeah, I really get lost with this game. Sorry, it's just that it's kind of
No, no.
taken. But oh yeah, that it's interesting. Case in point in this game, if you saw it when we were in the very dark moment of night, there was very few people around. Something that
Mm,
I really like because playing things
yeah,
like Assassin's Creed, it's inevitable to think that people is really active 24 hours. You
yeah.
know,
You're right. I mean, they do have sort of like routines, I guess. Like for targets that you kill, like at night they'll be somewhere else. But
but
it's not for yeah,
hmm,
yeah. That's true.
and only if they're involved in your mission somehow.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you can be fooling around in the middle of Egypt, 3 a.m.,
Yeah,
and there is this guy working in the fields, and it's like,
that's
man,
something that Forgotten City also did quite well.
yeah, it's true.
Mm.
Well, they never rest. Maybe for another good reason. Maybe they were sinning. So, but yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
I mean, they didn't have time to rest because every single evening, like the election thing happens, and they don't. Yeah, and then that everything resets.
oh, okay. This is a very interesting event. Finally, something
Mumble
new.
when he's
Yeah, they
whispering.
are mumbling and whispering as they clearly mention. And when you inquire what are you doing, of course, not your business. But when someone tells you, no, no, your business in an old game, of course, it's your business. So essentially, you try to greet and they just tell you to bugger off. But it's really important to follow these guys. Actually, I really like this part
Hmm.
because, oh, but I don't know if I can do it because I have no money. Story of my life in video games. But let's see. Have you ever tried to play a AAA video game without money? Because it's really challenging. I mean,
Yeah,
nothing compares, no difficulty level. Try it without money. Assassin's Creed with no money? Wow.
yeah. No, I mean, Odyssey would work, I guess, because you get so much loot.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're right. I think I remember when I was playing Odyssey for the first time, and so I was, I had like a very long week or something, and I wanted to get, I was, Friday night, I was in my couch, started up the game. I sailed to Chaos, I think it is.
Mhm.
I talked to Xenia, the pirate leader, and the first thing she gives you as a mission is get a job. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. That's the first thing.
That
Laborius
is,
Domesticus.
of course,
He was working from home before.
yeah, first remote worker ever.
Yeah, he was a slave trader. Never mind.
Yeah,
He's not a
yeah.
good person.
Curiously, quite the standard in Roman times. But yeah,
Mm,
is this the one? Okay, it's just that now in theory we are supposed to get to the palace because these guys were mumbling. Oh, again, I always press S when I shouldn't. That's another thing. It's lost, but in the old times of computer gaming, S was a very typical key just to skip some conversations, and now it's giving this problem. So sorry.
no.
Yeah, Flatulus is moving. So Flatulus is moving. What a sentence. So the thing is that if we had money, I would try anyway. If we had money, we would bribe the wards of the palace
Mhm.
because we have seen these conspirators in Rome conspirating about something. So you can warn
In
the
Rome,
authority.
they'd
Yeah.
never.
Ah, come on.
They look from. They look like mini Santa Claus. It looks like they have like a big beard and like a hat. Like,
the well, yeah, it doesn't get better when you see the
no, no.
Scrofulous. I mean, I really love to know about the brainstormings of these guys. Silence for the emperor. Oh, now the emperor is out. It's true.
Mm.
Inquire, my dear emperor. I need to speak with you. They are mumbling. Come on, emperor. Mm-mm-mm. I have decided to finance a war in the far west, and so we'll be raising
Far
taxes.
west.
Yes, I mean technically for the Romans,
Mm.
Britain or France was the far west. I mean, you could
Yeah.
You couldn't go any farther, technically speaking.
Etsu Christophorus gratuit.
Ah, no, they did it. So this is what they were whispering about.
Uh huh.
And because I had no money, I couldn't bribe one of the wards to get into the palace. So security is not in its finest. And basically, so I could warn the emperor. And because I did such a great work warning him not to die, he gave me a lot of money. That's one
Oh
of the
wow.
possible
Nice.
lines. But I totally lost it, as you can see.
Criminals assassinate the emperor.
Actually,
Honorous role of emperor.
and of course, we have the very opportunistic senator that we gave the message at the beginning, who had the perfect timing when we delivered the message, because that was the message for the conspirators to start the conspiration.
Mm-hmm.
But of course,
Oh.
yeah, Felonius is not really our first fan. That's why it's nice to fool around in these games. You have all these possible outcomes that are so funny, even if you lose.
Yeah, yeah. This
Yeah,
lion is really hungry. His mouth.
yeah, really calling for it. And of course, we are back to where we started,
All right.
which is another interesting thing. Nowadays, you screw it up in a mission and you restart the mission, and
Yeah.
it was really standard that, especially before the save game and the save point thing, that if
Mm,
you really failed, you started from square one,
yeah.
which actually was the cause of death of so many controllers back in the time.
Yeah, that's true. 1 minute silence for every controller thrown in the 1990s.
Those who paved the road to today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I maybe it has also to do with the new mindset of gamers, because no one wants to crash a control 60 euros controller anymore.
Also, yeah, true, and you know, it doesn't happen that much anymore because games have those features. Um,
I mean, sometimes I was really tempted when some boss in Assassin's Creed, especially the expansions, but not really. You think
yeah.
about your wallet much more. Yeah.
Yeah.
A broad-headed country boy come to make it rich in the big city, huh? For some reason, blonde hair and country boy are together in the mindset of these people.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
for the
guess it would
Romans.
have been like
Yeah,
the blonde is not the most Mediterranean of hair colors. Yeah.
I guess, but I mean, I remember that in HBO Rome they were all the time mocking Borenus because he was red hair, and that sounded so
No, no,
barbarian
you're
to
right.
them.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of blonde descriptions of people,
Yeah, exactly.
but
Caligula, no less.
yeah.
So come on, guys. No, they won't allow me. How do I get money? I need to rob someone, but I don't see anyone uncaring their belongings,
Mm.
which is something I love in later levels that, of course, we are not discovering because of my Alzheimer. But the possibility of stealing random things around the places is really, really real in this game. Actually, if you totally bankrupt, you have the possibility of recovering your fortune just randomly stealing poor people. But you see that more and
Uh-huh.
more there is more wars because more people is spreading around the world. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a lot of thinking for this kind of game.
Yeah, I'm trying to find some more information about who made it
Good luck.
and who. Yeah, it doesn't seem like I'm gonna find a lot. Um,
Actually, I had a very pathetic day one time when I was looking for further information about this game. I went to Google Scholar, I directly typed the title,
uh-huh.
and I discovered two entries, and one of them was my own article, and I didn't notice it was mine. So it was a very pathetic day. So, yeah. Okay, let's see the Colosseum just because it's a must and because I don't find a way to get my rigged dice. I hate it. I have done it so many times. Anyway, so, okay, yes, let's spoil. I mean, people, you can try it on your own. It's even easy to find around a lot of online versions of this game for free. And yeah, I would say legally. So, Colosseum, as you can imagine, is that thing which is
Oh, here
kind
we
of
are.
roundish with kind of columns, kind of, all kind
Kind
of,
of,
because,
kind of being the important word here.
yeah, exactly. But
Oh, we
you
can't
can
go
only,
in.
not really, because to go in, you have to meet three specific requires with
Oh,
requisites.
okay,
Sorry,
yeah,
which is having a slave to fight
yeah,
there,
Uh-huh.
and being a day of games. So if all that matches, you can get there and offer your slave to fight. And if he wins, which he usually does one or twice,
Uh-huh.
you get the benefits. And that's the most solid way to get richer and richer in this game. Basically, become
Uh-huh.
a slave trader, which maybe is convenient we are not doing because of the 21st century mindset we have. But yeah, that's essentially a must in this game. It's impossible to progress in the plot if you don't go through that, because that leads to other things. So that's it.
Mhm.
Let's go to the theater because it's actually
Yeah, let's
interesting.
go there.
Yeah, let's go for the walkthrough of Rome. And every time you have to go across the aqueduct, which I really like.
Just to remind you, this is Rome.
Yeah, exactly. Where do you think you are? Greece? Could be, actually.
It could be.
Yeah, I mean, for video games, the difference is so slight. Actually, oh, this is interesting. Sorry, I'm getting geeky for 30 seconds, but this well, more geeky, but this really killed my head the first time I noticed after playing for a while to this game. This is actually tremendously accurate for a video game. I haven't seen it so many times, or if ever. This is literally one of the little buildings which were the collecting points for water coming to the city and then distributing to
All
different
right.
common cities. And because
Yeah, yeah,
it's connected with this little thing, which I guess is supposed to be a water, pipe or so.
yeah, yeah.
I think that the only other place I've seen something like that is one of the Assassin's Creed. I don't remember which one right now, but
Probably Origins, I guess.
either that or Odyssey, because of one of these water thing that everyone associates with antiquity, and no matter the chronology. But yeah,
I don't
it's
remember
either one
that.
or the other.
Or because I'm in Origins, you had the beautiful aqueduct,
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's
and
true.
you could see like the
It was right.
where it's where the water came from, and I think we've literally we've played it on stream before. I think with Hamish Cameron and with Daniele.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't remember in Odyssey. Oh, in
Um,
Odyssey, what we had what were the fountains that you had? Yeah.
something like that. But I don't exactly remember where I saw one of these displayed.
Mm. Or maybe
Quite
it was
accurately.
Brotherhood.
Sorry.
Maybe it was Brotherhood, but like ruins of it.
Oh, could be. Yeah, why
Yeah,
didn't I think about it? Yes,
yeah,
actually, it has all the cards. Yeah. Find my wheels before I enter the games tonight. Let's got someone. Okay. Yes, this is Lecherus. Actually, this poor
lectures.
guy. Yes, Lecherus. Yeah. Sometimes the names are the best.
Yeah.
This is actually the slave that you buy time and again because
Hmm.
he's a great fighter and he's giving you a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because although when you get to bring your slave to the games and so on, they are all the time using the typical rhetoric and speech, blood and gore and
Yeah.
so on. But
Arena.
yeah, exactly, Spartacus, though not now. But gladiators hardly ever die in this game, which
Mm.
is, I don't know if
Yeah.
consciously, but quite accurate. They are
Yeah.
hurt and so on, but they get back to work because they have to get back to
True.
work.
Hmm.
One of the
No,
great.
if we had a nickel every time the Spartacus TV show said blood and sand and arena, I think we yeah
Man,
we could fund a couple of streams. But
yeah. Oh, this is so interesting. The Senate finally
interesting sake of the
meeting.
community.
Yeah. You see, this is a lot of Quo Vadis things in these kind of games. That
Hmm.
was the reference many times. Although, they are also taking measures against the Christians, which are a little bit, new approach,
Hmm. Yeah.
as you can see. But Unscrupulous, the senator, I love the name. But is this the other guy? Gaius Manus? Oh, no. Why? I really want to see the other consul. I don't want to spoil the name, although if I have, I will. But ah, pity. Yeah.
Another thing that you mentioned in your chapter about I
Mhm.
mean in the volume is that and I noticed that you were like that there's no violence
Hmm.
or like I mean there's people talk about violence but it's not like the you actually do the action.
And especially you don't perform it,
Yeah.
because that's normally the appealing of many games. You are the avatar, but
Hmm.
basically you are killing and so on. And here, at the end of the day, is not precisely better morally speaking, but you are bringing your slave to fight for you, and you see the fighting in a very cheesy
Hmm.
way. But it's true that basically your performance as a character and avatar here is all around dealing with people, convincing, cheating, etc. But the usual thing, at some point, even you are an officer in the army. Yeah, big spoiler.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how, because I mean, I really encourage people to fool around with this game. It's quite funny. but you don't never get to lead a battle. I mean, there is a battle, but you do it in a very peculiar way, which actually reminded me the sword fighting in Monkey Island, because it's not really like fighting, killing each
Hmm.
other, it's insulting. Here there is something of that sort, which I am not telling. But yes, like, let's not make the usual fighting and gore of romance, which was already a thing in the 90s, even way
Yeah, yeah,
before. It's very curious.
yeah. It's again, it's similar to Forgotten City, where there's some violence, but you can skip it if you want. But most of it is spent walking around, talking to people, learning more.
And especially exploring in the literal way of it, because at the end of the day, even if you are not being violent in many games, it's because they are telling you, go there, do that, take this, pull that lever. But here is literally, let's see what action, or what, of course not too many, but what kind of plot you can join in, so you
Yeah,
can make some benefit or trick someone or progress. But if
yeah.
you don't, essentially, it's not like someone is pulling you to, as in many other games. Like, I don't know, I'm thinking like always about Assassin's Creed for obvious reasons,
Yeah,
but there is always this mercenary after you or whatever. So violence is the engine all the time.
mm-hmm.
Not,
Yeah.
not here,
No,
which
not it's there might there be a correlation between, I
mhm.
mean, yeah, like not really correlation, but like how the more you like it's a, I don't know what emasculous okay, it's a eunuch.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Sorry, I wanted to show it. Sorry,
No, but
no.
like in the Forgotten City too, like it's a murder mystery thing. I mean, it's not, it's not a murder mystery, but it's like
Mm.
it's it's a future murder mystery because you're supposed to find out who is gonna be the murderer. Or so like the more you do that, the less violence there is. Like with
Yeah.
Stray Gods too, like and Pentiment, they do the same.
Mhm.
Like it's like mystery versus action or something like that.
Which actually, if you ask me, okay, I don't want to say like violence makes it boring because it's always the same. Not true. And actually, I
No, I mean,
mean,
yeah,
I like strategy games and so on as any other. But I can't help noticing that many times violence is just so much an umbrella over everything that they don't get creative any other way. And games
yeah.
like Forgotten City are here because they are not following that rabbit. They start exploring
Mhm.
things that are surprisingly interesting.
Yeah, that's something indie games can do because
Mhm.
indie games are often acts of resistance against AAA industries or AAA conventions, and since violence is the most dominant representational language in the AAA sector, you get indie games. I mean, more often indie games that don't have that. I mean, of course, that there's exceptions like Hades, where but it's an environment where you can experiment more with stuff like that.
And I think it was speaking with Julie in one of her streamings of Zelda, which I recommend to every
Hmm.
human being in the world. Um, I think it was mentioned that there is also a very big difference in the treatment of very violence, because at the end of the day, when we are talking about violence in AAA, it's explicit one, is
Yeah,
the very visible and very gore one. But thinking about games like Papers, Please, for example, there is
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of implicit violence, though not explicit. And why can't I get here?
yeah. Mm.
Sorry.
No, no, you're right. It's
No, cannot.
I mean, it depends on the way you define it, of
Hmm.
course, I guess, but it's
Because at the end of the day, sometimes that kind of violent tension, or the simple non-explicit violence, but the one that you have to carry out or be forced to, or simply that you perceive but you can do nothing about, that is important for the plot, can be a kind of resource that it makes a video game even more tense and uncomfortable than the simple aim and shoot.
yeah, no, it's true.
I hate so much this guy. I really learned to hate him. Actually, when I saw HBO Rome for the first time, the guy performing is, I think, is Kikero. Yes, if I'm
Hmm.
right, resembles this guy a lot, and it was triggering to me hate all the time that I saw poor Kikero showing up
Because
just because
everybody
of
hates
this.
Kikoro.
Yeah, yeah, that character is not made to be loved. Yeah.
I mean, I was talking about the ancient one, like the verb seeking one. Um,
Yeah, but everyone translating Latin
yeah.
eventually hates Kikero. So now I am trying my luck in the tavern because I know I have to steal the dice there, and let's see if I can make it, or is this going to be a record short streaming? Let's see. Um,
It's a
and
roguelike, is what you're saying.
yeah, hey guys, do you think that high difficulty levels are difficult today? Try
Yeah.
this.
It's a new genre. It's called Rome-like, and it's antiquity based roguelike game.
And of course, there's another thing that sometimes, because they knew that audience and gamers back then were used to these graphics, sometimes what you have to do, not here, but I kind of remember it, is that you have to steal something in some corner or whatever, and it's literally 1 pixel. But of course, if you don't
Mm.
have a trained eye for that, it's just one
Yeah,
pixel for
yeah, yeah.
you.
No, it's true.
So again, no, this is the happy fellows, but I don't have the money. Sorry, guys.
They're making their new album cover.
Yeah, absolutely. I really love the second guy from the left. It's like,
Yeah,
could you be more an assassin? It's like, wow, man.
true. Yeah.
I should have stolen more money from people in Herculaneum. Now I am regretting my good soul.
I mean, it's still there.
Well, yeah, I can dig a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it might still be hot, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if 4 or 5 countries could do it, why not me
Mm,
now? I'm Roman. I have more rights to it. Now, uh, come on. It's because I don't know why, because I kind of remember that I had the option of stealing or taking, and it's not here. And I kind of remember that I was stealing the dice over here. I'm quite sure
uh,
about that. But of course, that never goes well in life. Hmm. No, I don't have it. Let's try one more time. Hmm. No, he's just very politely telling you to bugger off. Okay, excuse me. So let's see if we can fool around a little bit more with other people, like the rich guy in the bats. I hope he's there
mhm.
because it's really funny. And I don't know if it was you who mentioned it once, talking about retro gaming. I don't remember. I mean, so many people talking about video games these days. But it is true that there is also a pending subject on studying the, as you say, the history or evolution of antiquity, but not also in all games. I mean, because many
Mm,
times I have surprised myself thinking this is essentially like a modern one, like, I don't know, Assassin's Creed or whatever, just that with less graphics, but the mindset and the ideas behind are there. It's like
true.
at the end of the day, many times I wonder if people designing new games were getting back to the grandparents just to get inspiration or ideas, or you know.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a good point. It's the fellow. It's him. Uh,
Sorry, I like the
yeah,
names.
no, it is a thing. Like for example, if you look at developer interviews with Hades,
Mhm,
with the designers for Hades Supergiant, like they mentioned the types of games they were interested by or inspired by, but they're usually also more. I mean, I think in their case they were more recent as well.
mhm,
But like very often it's like indie game design, and I'm talking like really indie, like itch.io game designers. Like they make something and then on their website they put something like um, this game was inspired by Legend of Zelda,
mhm,
for example, or this game is basically Assassin's Creed with guns, or like there's like this reference to it, it's clearly inspired by something else, or like it's a response to something else. Even
mhm,
Assassin's Creed, like there's what was a GDC talk in 2019, if I recall correctly, like from one of the from two of the Assassin's Creed Odyssey directors,
mhm,
and they had like an entire PowerPoint presentation, and one of their slides was like all the movies and all the games that they watched or played, and that they were explicitly either following or getting away from. For example, they didn't want their version of Greece to be in the same color palette as many older games or older movies. Like they wanted to be more vibrant in terms of color, and that's why it's like
mhm,
you have a reference point that you that informs what the game is, but you also deviate from that. So there's like an intrinsic referentiality in everything they did there, and I think there's like you said that there's a tendency for, especially for like game scholars to focus on like the recent games, like we don't
mhm,
again, aside from work by you and by Dunson Lowe. I don't know of anyone, and Christian
The
Rollinger as well.
master.
Like
Hmm,
I don't know
exactly.
of anyone talking about games that games from the 90s, for example. Um, and that's an
Mm.
entire treasure trove of games and things that are being ignored.
And especially because, of course, they are not anymore influential in the way that we understand that today. Of course, I mean, let's be fair,
Hmm.
but it's also a case in point that okay, maybe a lot of daggers are going to show up around my head, but many times I can help feeling that the video game industry is essentially conservative.
Yeah, it is.
So
Yeah,
if
exactly.
they discover something that was interesting and they think it can be interesting even 40 years later, they don't really hesitate to say, hey, let's go for it.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah. Sorry.
no, sorry, no, it's just that that's it. At the end of the day, the big engine or aesthetic difference can be there, but essentially many dynamics are the ones that we were playing in the late 80s.
Yeah.
So, mm, reference at the end of the day.
No,
Sorry.
there's that's exactly how many indie designers feel. There's a great book about that by Jesper Juhl from 2019 called "Handmade Pixel." I'll put it in the
Oh,
chat,
yeah.
and it's he literally describes how many indie games are acts of resistance or counterculture. Um, to conservative game design. And indie designers, they go back to like aesthetics or gameplay styles from the 1980s, like for example platformer games, which were much more um popular back then than maybe they are now in the big commercial industry, at least. Like many indie games are platformers because it goes back to this time where people felt that game design was still um what's the word, like genuine or like authentic or had a soul, like it was
Yeah.
experimenting with the art form or the medium instead of just putting products out on a yearly basis. And that's something that, yeah. And you said that something like this might not be influential anymore. I think it still might be, but it's maybe also on a more subconscious level, or like games like Age of Mythology, which is also over 20 years old now. Like I think it still informs contemporary mythological games in a way, and maybe in a purely oppositional manner, maybe because uh many people think, I'm going to portray the Minotaur differently than older games did it. I'm going to make him more of a character than just a monster to be slain, but then you're still
Hmm.
sort of influenced by it, but you change it around and it's like an oppositional thing.
I see your point. I think say oppositional in as long as it doesn't totally resemble. But at the end of the day, I was just thinking about Age of Mythology and Smite that we were playing some weeks
Hmm.
ago, and you can perfectly see the line joining those two
Yeah,
in more Latin for you in the
it's Catullus
conception.
again, so it's the same poem, different stanza.
Is the hit of the year. Yeah,
Yeah, it's yeah, yeah, it is.
wait for Pedicabo. That's going to be a hit.
No,
I can help it. I can't help it.
yeah,
Sorry.
no,
It's
we there has to be a game and with that in there, and if there isn't, I will make it. But it's
wow. I don't think there is anything boring in the story about that work. I mean, everything is an interesting point.
exactly, yeah.
Wow. It still crashes my head that it took to 1996, I think it was, when for the first time that they decided to totally translate the piece into some non-Latin language.
Is it? I didn't know
I
that.
think it was
No.
that late. Yeah, it's something like that.
Oof.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
no, so I mean, Roman Morali and Karen Morali are not the same, of course.
Yeah, no, I used to I used to teach in secondary schools, and I know people who censored that poem like when they
Hmm.
read it even now, and I feel like, no, don't, like,
Yeah.
you know read it. It's what he wrote, and put it in context, and don't censor it.
And actually makes you really wonder because at the end of the day, we are talking about a guy that more than 2000 years ago was being able to cross lines that we are feeling uncomfortable with. That really, I mean,
Exactly,
independently of the
yeah.
morality, that makes you wonder a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
apart
yeah,
from the fun of
exactly true.
people, I probably have mentioned this, but it's my favorite piece of YouTube ever. There is this guy, probably not difficult to find if you look for Pedicabo in YouTube. Do it. And there is this guy with his own very personal performance at ukulele of the piece. Please, people.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
God.
now you want to
Yeah.
look for Pedicabo. It's Ned
Do you want
Flanders
a
looking
watch
like guy.
party or
Or if you're interested in our redemption of YouTube for the next streaming, no, okay, let's
yeah.
see. Oh, Laborious then, because that guy is
Wait,
part of the
wait.
club.
So the first thing I find that's called Pedigabo Ego Irmão is a video with Nicolas Cage. That's the first thing I find.
I don't know that one, but now I'm
Oh, but
interested.
I think is it Willard Losinger performs
Exactly, that's the
with
one.
Lawrence
William
on
Lessinger.
ukulele accompaniment.
That's the guy, and his uncomparable redemption of the world. And say no more, please, people. Enjoy the link. The worst thing
Should
is
I
that the
put it in the
guy.
chat or not?
Good question. Very good
I'm not
question.
gonna do it.
Okay, okay,
Oh
but
my
I mean,
God, he's actually.
it gets better if you watch the whole thing. Uh, yeah, I think we have lost. I have lost Alex for about I think it's 6 minutes or so. So, but no
It's
problem, people.
2.5, but
Ah, oh, it's shorter.
no, it's fine.
It
No,
feels long when you watch it. It really feels long.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm sorry.
I don't blame you to zoom out.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really hypnotic.
I was yeah, baffled.
Yeah, no wonder. But I think anyone should discover this little jewel of the internet.
Yeah, it's educational. Yeah.
Eh, the
It's in
strange
a
thing is that
city. Blatant
the
product.
the guy totally knows what he's singing because apparently he's very well informed about these things. But then he
Mm.
doesn't hesitate.
he's
But
uh
Nicolas
he's
Cage.
very determined.
Oh yeah, he has passion. I
Mm.
give him that. My emails before I enter the games tonight. Now, come on, guys. Where are the guys that I can steal to? It's night. It's easier to steal at night here. I remember that. Hmm. Well, you are getting the full picture of how was Rome in 1992 in 8 bytes, at least. Okay, let's try hostel. Maybe I can steal someone there. I can rob someone there. Although in this game, in the future, it's also possible to steal people literally. I'll say no more. Do try it. Very. No, he's the poor Barbarous. Oh, it's true. There is a gladiator called Barbarous, no less.
Oh,
Very
that's
telling.
yeah, that is telling.
Hmm. Still with Lossinger over there?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Diana. Yeah, nights are shorter here because probably because they know they trigger a lot of potential non-main plot lines.
Mm,
But it's a pity because I know for a fact that especially in these times, Diana times, there is a lot of people that you can steal to. If you have a dagger or so on, it's easier to steal people
all right. Yeah.
to steal to people. Yeah, to rob them. But
Mm.
actually, it's a beautiful experience of how it is to be in Rome with no dime. Basically, if you are broke and you are in Rome, this is the experience.
Yeah. I mean, it's an expensive city, right?
Oh yeah, and it never sleeps, as you can see. But
Yeah. Well, so can you sleep in the game?
nope, you are a never-ending machine of trying to progress socially.
Right.
That's it.
So it's
Which never that kind of concern in the past. No,
so that the hostel is not it's not open for they're
um,
fully booked.
or it's absolutely complete all the time. But basically, the hostel plays a role further in just to make small money, essentially, because you are
All right.
scamming some of the guests.
Uh-huh.
I know it sounds like I'm spoiling most of the dynamics, but I promise I'm not. This is just the Roman part. I strongly encourage people to try the farthest one if you are more skillful than I am. I must say that I am also feeling a little bit crippled not using a remote, which is really pathetic. I used to play a lot on computers, and nowadays I feel weird using the mouse.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
amazing how you really forget the way to control something after a while.
Yeah. No.
It's like
It's
when you recover a game after some months or 1 year, and you totally
yeah.
relearn the controls.
Or if you like play two games at the same time, the
Exactly.
controls are different. That can be very annoying,
Now,
frustrating.
yeah, here. unless of course you are playing some Ubisoft, which is basically the same all the time.
Yeah, but I wouldn't play two Ubisoft games at the same time. That's
Yeah,
just that's playing one Ubisoft game all the time.
that's the moment to look for help. Yeah.
Yeah, true. I mean, now with Mirage, I guess people might be looking for that. But,
Are you have you already tried it?
I have it. I have it installed. I haven't played it yet. I haven't
Mm,
been. I've yeah. I haven't had the time yet. But we
um,
might play it on stream in a couple of weeks. Maybe we have a open slot the 27th, so
ooh, I
could
want
be
to.
interesting.
I always have my personal mind split with my mind split with Ubisoft games for obvious reasons. But on the other hand, I was basically raised in the 20th century with 21st century with AC. So I am playing everything because I mean,
Yeah, no, for me it's professional like I want to know what the series does. Like if I hate it, I want to have played it and hate it. Like I don't know, like it's I don't know. Like I also just want to see like they have some I mean, regardless of the controversies, which are
yeah.
all of the critiques are 100% fair, and or more than that. Um, it's like they have, I think, intriguing systems for the historical information, and again, it's not like the Valhalla database that the codex that you had has
Mhm.
been changed a little bit. Like you have to look for it more, or like complete tasks for it, and I'm interested to see that.
Oh,
Um, but
you cannot
yeah.
sleep here, but there is something you can do, which is die, and I think I did
Oh
because
yeah,
yeah,
right.
exactly. That's it.
Oh
Who
wow,
run that?
Streets of Rome
Um,
lineage.
it's because in the dark time of night, there is a lot of people offering you to hire an assassin, and if you don't, or you basically ask them, they can get cross and they kill you. So
Wow.
yeah, you know the old fashioned way. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, no, I was basically done. Uh,
Yeah, there you go. Let's see if I can. I'm a little luckier now. Although, hey, 1 hour and a half just fooling around Rome, really? Wow, incredible. Time flies when you are doing nothing.
Time flies when you die.
Mm. You know, my problem with Assassin's Creed essentially is that I still remember the goosebump the first time I saw the Jerusalem in the first one and so on. It's so
Mhm.
ingrained in my visual memory, and I enjoy
Exactly.
them just because of that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, the first one I ever played was Brotherhood, and I was,
Mhm.
I was blown away by it. It's, you know, I mean, I think most of us have that, feeling of sheer um surprise at all of the details, and then even with Odyssey, it was, and now and then when Odyssey came out, I was old enough and to spot the references, and to find all of the niche things that they put in it, and that was really cool.
Hmm.
But then you read more, and you hear about you know
Yeah, the
the
dark
behind the
side of the
scenes
moon.
stuff. The
Yeah.
thing is, like Mirage is not made by the people who did any of the other Assassin's Creed games. Like it's Ubisoft Bordeaux, so it's a different studio as well. So I mean, I'm, I don't know anything about Ubisoft Bordeaux, but maybe they have like a different culture. I'm not sure, but it's and
I,
I think there's been studies on this.
mhm.
Like there's an article from Lars de Wild and Steph Aupers from earlier this year, who did like big interviews with many people at Ubisoft, and so the thing there is that there's multiple teams who work on it and who put the content in it, and then regardless of where the game is made, every decision or every couple of weeks or months, like the entire game is shown to like the people at the top in Paris,
Mhm.
and they ultimately decide what goes in and what goes out. So it's like I think it's there, and I think the a couple was it last month or this month even, that people from Ubisoft, like ex people, I mean ex workers in high positions, they were all arrested for sexual
Oh,
intimidation.
really?
And so it's I think you know the problem is often to be situated there, I guess.
Let's see.
But
I didn't know about those breaking news, but hey,
Yeah, no, it was early October or late September, one of the two, and Ubisoft people were arrested. Um,
man, I didn't know about this workflow they have. So basically, there is always a boss head that is aware and making
yeah,
them coherent decisions. Okay.
I can put a link to the article
Oh,
in the
sure.
chat here.
Please.
It's really, it's a great article. It's about, basically it's about religion in Assassin's Creed. Um, but let me find it
Sure.
here.
Meanwhile, I am trying to see if I can scam anyone else, which is basically my objective today. Although I am starting to have the very strong hunch that this is going to be it for the streaming today, which is going to make it the longest teaser ever made. But I can help but encouraging everyone to try this game just for fooling around and especially to discover the further levels. I tell you that sometimes the ideas and especially the dynamics to progress are quite creative and not what we are used to to doing
Hmm.
nowadays. So it's quite an interesting counter. How do we call it? For a while, it was counter gaming, alternative gaming. Sorry, alternative gaming.
Yeah,
So I mean, I haven't discovered too many games in the last, I don't know, 15 years where basically your main source of progression was cheating, scamming, or so on. At the end of the day,
yeah,
you do by, you know, sliding or slashing or kicking or running or
yeah,
jumping.
yeah.
So there is
I
a
don't
human
know
side, of
about
course.
any.
Mhm.
Yeah, cheating.
Of course, there is a lot of gambling if you look for it,
Yeah,
but
gambling. But yeah, but gambling is not cheating per se.
mhm,
It's. I mean, of course, there's many like RuneScape you mentioned earlier, like has
yeah,
a thieving skill. You can pickpocket there. Um,
but you
but
know,
yeah, otherwise, I'm also not that sure.
so
I guess
basically,
it's the stealth games most likely.
though, yeah, yeah, it's a point. Although I don't know if it's cheating as much as just being silent and not seen. It's just
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, in games, basically personality of your avatars are extreme. Either you're extremely good fighter, extremely good intellectual riddle solver, or either you are extremely good runner or something like that. But there is nothing
Yeah.
just middle ground or whatever.
No, that's true.
Maybe
I mean, yeah. Sorry. Go
the,
ahead.
the Witcher 3, I was thinking sometimes you have just to cheat people to do something that is not the real, for the
Mm,
real, benefit. But yeah, it's subtle and it's side missions, of course.
yeah. No.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. No. I think you're right. I think indie games have started to change that extremeness of game characters in a way as well. Like it's more close to life or close to everyday life and or more realistic. Something
Mm.
like What Remains of Edith Finch, for example. Like
Oh
you don't
wow,
have that extremeness there. Fantastic game, by the way.
amazing.
And but yeah, it's like the high concept approach to games, and also like it's almost like a superhero thing at that point. Um,
Can,
yeah.
can be, yeah, makes sense. Or, yeah, or the yeah, or even hero. Simply the you are the main character. You have to win or to
Mhm.
beat everyone doing whatever. But mm, I must say that I really like when either when the main character is not that super powerful all around, not just because you're progressing, or in general when they are okay, not damaged like torture because of the past or all that, but basically because it's I don't know if balance is the word. I am just thinking. You mentioned Edith Finch, good one. I also
Mhm.
remember the this is the vanishing of Ethan Carter, in which basically you are the main character,
Mhm.
but you are not at all powerful, just the
Yeah,
opposite.
yeah, yeah.
And
Exactly.
wow, that was interesting.
What happened?
Well, basically that I was trying to follow the guys playing dice just to see if I could rob to anyone, and they just vanished in thin air.
Oh, the Ethan Carter.
Or their great grandfather.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's try again. I know those guys are the ones I have to steal. I'm
Mm.
not even baffled because I remember that I'm supposed to have the option of taking or grabbing or stealing directly. So I can steal dice from the guys playing here, but it's not even showing up. And there is obviously something I am missing. But
Maybe
again,
you haven't installed the right DLC yet, or the
and I
compatible.
am really working my ass trying to insult everyone here, but I have been staffed. No, oh, Moxius Funus. I mean, no, really, there is a lot of creativity here.
Mhm. So how long does the game like how many hours if you were to finish it?
If you are skillful enough and it doesn't take too much, despite the example here today, it's never. I mean, it will take a lot of work to make it reach 2 hours. Plain and
Oh,
simple.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like that. Especially if you work continuously, which is the other problem. If you are playing one website which is keeping the game or saving it,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, yeah. True.
But if you are
Hmm.
working on some emulator that you downloaded to your computer, that's not an
Yeah.
option.
No, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, that also makes sense. Video games nowadays are just enormous because they can afford it. I mean, can you imagine restarting the whole AC just
No.
because you died?
No, it has to be a feature. I mean, like in Hades, for example,
Hmm.
like where or I mean, Hades is exceptional in that regard because even though you die and start over, you don't die and start over. Like it progresses, but
Mhm.
it's yeah. I mean, there was that other game that came out earlier this year, Perseus Titan Slayer. I don't know if you played that. It's basically a Hades ripoff. I mean, I hope no one is watching who is just liking the game, but let me say more politely. It seems seemingly inspired by Hades, maybe like Titan Quest as well. It's a roguelike, and you die. If you die, you go back to the beginning, and everything resets.
Mhm.
So it's not like Hades. There's no narrative progression. I yeah, it doesn't work that well. I don't think the game has been received that well. Let me check on Steam how what the score is, but it's not something I would necessarily recommend people play.
Hmm.
Um, it's on Steam. It has gotten mixed reviews, so uh, only 286 people reviewed it as well. So that
Oh,
doesn't it's not a good
that's
sign.
niche. That's real niche. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's and
And
also it's very like that's a game where you can have an ability. It's called Zeus's Call, and if you press it, it's somehow you spawn Mjolnir, and Mjolnir like flies around you, and I don't know why it mixes up Thor and Zeus. Like I'm all for creativity and all that, but that would just maybe a bit too creative for my
maybe just so that last God of War and said, "Hey, why not?"
yeah, exactly, yeah, maybe it's but even there
Whoa.
you can't use Mjolnir, so yeah.
Oh, it's just spanning and showing around.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot use Mjolnir. It just appears and you are just showing it, and that's it.
No, I mean you don't have it. Thor has Mjolnir, and so you fight Thor, and there's a fantastic scene with Mjolnir in the beginning. Like if anyone in the chat has seen has played Ragnarok, like the first battle between Thor and Kratos is utterly fantastic, and something happens there that is like I won't spoil it, but it's like fantastic gaming, and uh, yeah, I won't say more of that. But you don't have Mjolnir in Valhalla. You have Mjolnir, like
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You can have, but that was like a thing. It's like you can get Mjolnir, you can get like Excalibur and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
before the DLC came out, like you just get it at like the last mission of the or like right before you've basically done everything else, and
Mhm.
that's like okay, I've gotten this now, nice, but I can't use it now. Like I've done everything that there is to do, and yeah, that was a bit disappointing. But then DLC came out, and that was you could use it there, but then the DLC wasn't that good. So
Yeah, I was yeah, exactly. Continue my opinion about that DLC.
yeah, I mean the only one that I think was worth playing was I mean from the one I have played and have seen people play is the Cassandra one. I
Oh
like that.
yeah, that
That
was
was
really
nice.
cool. And I mean that trailer when we all discover who was
Yeah.
meeting whom. Ooh, that was interesting, man.
Yeah, that was Kate and I were doing a React stream at that point. Like
Oh.
they were announcing like the future of Valhalla, and we were doing a React stream, and so they did something. We're doing I don't know like Tomb of the Fallen now and stuff like that, and we were like, okay, yeah, that's interesting. And then someone in the chat pointed out, did you see the second trailer? I'm like, what second trailer? There's only one trailer. Like the second trailer, you have to look it up, and we did it, and then we were both like, they're like, what the fuck? Like this is awesome. This is what, yeah. There's like a great clip of that moment. I think we both turned off our mics for that too. Like
Just to be
that was
natural.
that was utterly amazing. That was great.
So cool. Yeah, yeah. Video games generate that kind of
Yeah,
passion.
like I mean, a hype can be a very good and a very bad thing. Like hype
Yeah,
can ruin it, but hype can also be fantastic. I think
absolutely.
is it Luke Stevens, like the video game YouTuber who is always saying hype sucks or something like that, or like he's very much against hype, and he every review he puts out is like a skeptical review or something like that. Like I like that approach. Like you should be able to be excited about things, but you should also be I don't know,
Um,
like don't set your expectations too high.
Actually, there's this cinema director who usually says that expectations are the first reason that movies are dead before they are even released, and I quite
Yeah,
agree. It happens quite much with video games. Though with video
yeah,
games, there is a lot of dynamics that are not precisely healthy apart from expectations, like
yeah. No, it's. I
demands
mean,
and so
the
on.
entire Last of Us 2 thing
Hmm.
that was horrible. But I
Yeah,
think in
exactly.
general, like people, like you see it very clearly with the MCU now. Like
Hmm.
every single day, there's like a new thing. Oh, Hugh Jackman's gonna be in Secret Wars. Oh, and this character is gonna be in Deadpool 3, and this character is gonna be, and like 99% of them are all false, but like create this, weird set of expectations that everybody is then judging the movie for. Like people who were saying, I was uh annoyed that Tom Cruise wasn't in Multiverse of Madness as Iron Man from the other parallel universe, like because it was
What?
announced. They said like people. It was never announced. Like people were just saying it online. Oh, Tom Cruise will be playing Iron Man from from Earth 838, and then people get their hopes up and get excited about it, and then it doesn't happen, and they judge they criticize the movie for it. But it's just your own. I mean, you shouldn't believe that those weird fake posts.
I
But
guess that's
yeah,
a problematic consequence of a world in which how many people are speaking about a thing matters more than what are you doing or the quality of your product.
yeah,
It's about numbers, not anymore about
exactly.
quality. Hmm.
But also, I think like people have this. People say that in the context of the MCU, like that there's this superhero fatigue happening. I don't really think it's superhero fatigue. It's just people are getting tired of it. No, it's like people are seeing negative journalism and negative
Mhm.
clickbaity articles about everything that happens, that they just get, it's hard, it gets harder to enjoy. And when they do enjoy something, they immediately you find 10 articles online about why the thing they enjoyed sucks, or something. Like it's, I think it has those clickbaity negative titles have like a real impact on how like people tend to perceive these things. But,
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, there is no way that can be a road to success because even if you
yeah,
release the best movie ever made, it's never going to be up to expectations that are always going to be more
exactly.
demanding.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Hmm.
So I just came to my last resource because I know for a fact that in the Senate, interestingly,
Hmm.
there is this guy who is offering you any kind of loan, of course, 100% interest. And I asked him the highest one because, hey, I have already been killed. Why not again? But
Yeah.
now we can finally buy some slaves. I cannot believe I'm saying that sentence, but yeah, we can buy some slaves.
Serrano Lozano 2023. Now we can finally buy some steak.
Finally, the world has, yeah.
Mm,
You take it out of context and
yeah. We're
so
gonna clip that very specific moment.
yeah, I just remember that now there's Sasa TikTok, and I am not precisely happy about it. But
Yeah.
okay, so let's see if we can make some good bidding in this auction. Who is the yes? It's Lecaros. So I want to bid for this guy. So bid, please. No, sorry. Ah, damn it! They were already bidding high. I was late. So, hey, come on. Hey, no, the guy didn't give me the money. I was asking him for 30. Oh, damn it. It's not my day playing this game. Sorry, people. Well, you are watching basically my experience the first time I try any game ever. Then I start knowing what I do. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention it before. This is interesting because this is the only piece of architecture I think it's easy to make a connection with reality, and it's not precisely with an original Roman one. I think it's a clear inspiration of the Museo della Civiltà in Rome. You know, this
Hmm.
uh, kind of classicistic fascist thing in Rome. And I think it's the only one that is kind of recognizable here, though quite different. But apart from
Hmm.
that, and of course obelisks, It's the only piece of anything that I could find in this game connectable with anything recognizable. Well,
Hmm.
if you have a lot of imagination, this is
Yeah.
supposed to be hieroglyphics. That, well,
If you have a lot of imagination, you're
yeah.
right.
I mean, it really responds to the name of hieroglyphic, but apart from that,
Yeah.
yeah. So no, not even the long guy wanted to give me money. Wow, it's a day to be miserable in this gaming.
In this big city.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, we are doing what tourists without without any money do in Rome, which is walking around a lot and seeing
Around
everything. Yeah,
and get killed.
yeah, that too. Yeah. And listening to the water is the
Hmm.
only sound around here. Oh, is this the guy? Please let me be the guy. Oh, Felonius Moronicus is one of the two consuls. Yeah, is the guy who killed the emperor, and now he's one. And oh yeah, Militaris Conflictus. This guy appears later in the plot. Yeah, and it's really interesting because here's when you notice that sometimes the quotes that they bring here, it's quite interesting because sometimes they are nothing or simply lame, and sometimes they are quotes from very B movie peplums that I don't
Mm.
know how did they make the reference. Actually, I know not this one, but I know another one that appears, and it's actually from Spartacus 2, the most forgettable movie ever.
Spartacus 2?
The Son of Spartacus in original title. Yeah, you didn't know that existed? Ooh, I
No,
don't
Spartacus
recommend.
2.
The Son of Spartacus. Is the sequel from the sequel wannabe from the Kirk Douglas movie. Like the story of the son of Spartacus, because if you remember, the woman who marries Spartacus was pregnant when he is crucified in the movie.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah,
there's a
ex-
sequel to that?
exploring Peplum is a really dark and deep hole if you want to. But yes,
Let me
the
find that.
Son of Spartacus. I guess the original title was like that too. I don't recommend it. I said it, and I say it twice.
Can't find it though. Like it's uh
Okay. Yeah, I wish maybe it's the translation because of language, and the
uh
original title in English is different because I think it was an Italian production, but I can look for it later, of course.
yeah, no, I don't know if I want to see it.
Ah, first sentence,
But
very first sentence. There is a moment with cheap peplum where you start getting to develop a kind of
oh,
taste for cheesy and seedy, but there's a limit for everything.
oh, I found it. Yeah, okay.
No, you
It's
got it.
called in English. It's called The Slave. It's Italian Il Figlio di Spartacus.
The
It's
slave.
the
Okay.
1962 Italian peplum film directed by Sergio Corbucci, starring Steve
Mhm.
Reeves.
That's it.
It's an unofficial sequel to Stanley Kubrick's 1960 Spartacus. So
So they couldn't buy the rights. Yeah.
it's a fan movie then.
Not quite, because well, basically what used to happen back then is that many Italian B side productions essentially didn't want to pay the rights, so they didn't expect the Hollywood to know that they had made a movie, and actually it
Hmm.
happened many times. So it's not even a fan-based thing because it's professional work. Well, professional as much as B Peplum can be called professional,
Mm.
but I mean, Steve Reeves was quite a star back in the time, but
Yeah.
they were basically doing it illegally. Yeah, that's quite a phenomenon in cinema industry, or used to be, together with well, not sequels, more like the spin-offs and new versions of movies that they make in India many times without paying the copyright
Yeah.
because they don't expect people to know it.
No, I think Turkey does the same.
Oh yeah, oh interesting.
Yeah, Turkey has like
No.
yeah, like a similar industry.
Okay, I'm putting the cards on the table. I think I am not being able to progress from the wrong level in this game, which is embarrassing, but I am just making it transparent, people.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
But again, if nothing else, let's make it a very interesting way to propose people to explore further, because I tell you,
yeah.
it can be interesting.
No, I had no idea about what this game was, and yeah, I guess I'm very pleasantly surprised. Like it's I
It,
yeah,
it's a
sorry.
pity that we haven't been able to see more NPCs saying things, because in Rome, curiously, is the place where you hear the less of them, apart from this woman who says a very interesting sentence, wondering if
Mm.
the curse that she put on her mother is working. So this kind
Oh,
of
oh,
random, interesting sentences
yeah,
are
yeah,
around,
yeah.
So again, people explore this. Oh, actually, I don't know if it would be a good idea to leave a link later for some website where you can play it online. Though it's very
Yeah,
easy to find.
it's do you know the name of the website? I can
Actually, the website I'm using right now is called playminigames.net, so it's not
play
even hard.
minigames.net.
Mhm. not even sophisticated. But there are several where you can play it online for
Oh,
free. The
my
emulator online
my
is easy.
is it a safe website? Because my antivirus is like, flagging it as.
Well,
Uh,
maybe you need to get it flexible, but I have never
yeah.
had any problem with these kind of
Okay.
websites. Maybe it's because a lot of advertisement and so on, because of course they're independent.
Yeah.
But I don't remember having problems playing them online. Whatever you download is
Yeah. 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 Okay.
roll them.
Uh,
Okay, I should be able to steal these guys. No, if you don't rob these guys,
oh yeah,
no,
there's a lot of Roman themed games here.
yeah, I told you. Yeah,
Play Centurion here, the Rome War,
that's where I tried it. Yeah,
Annals of Rome, Romans Age of Caesar. Yeah, I found. I'll put a link in the chat here.
sure. No, it doesn't work. Eh. Inverse psychology didn't work either.
Ah, I mistyped it. Ugh. Never mind. Ah,
It's a bad day for controlling.
play Rome Way of Power.
That's a sequel. Not
This is
so successful.
yeah, it's the unofficial sequel, the Belgian version.
They
Uh,
didn't pay the rights. Yeah.
yeah, no, we couldn't get it.
Um, no,
Is it?
that's not.
I think I completely butchered it. It's Pathway 2 Power. I type Pathway of. Okay, it's been a long week.
Yeah, I mean, let's call it a draft in the chat.
Yeah,
It's possible to. Oh, is this the guy who knocks? Ah, no, it's the Rose Sweeper. Because I remember that in Dark in the Night in this game, at some point you find a guy in a corner who is making acid and insulting verses against different characters in the game, and it's so
oh well.
funny. Yeah, well, much like in the Cthulhu's way, but no, and no, not here. Ah, that's the other problem because if it was possible, I would have loved to have some save points just to show specific things, but here, no way. There we
Yeah,
go.
no, it's but it's interesting to talk. And it's like playing something where those common features of today are absent makes you think about games
Yeah.
today.
Actually, sometimes I wonder if using intentionally, I mean consciously, not like just being retro, like abusing of 80s music in a movie just because it's the 80s, but using some of these difficulty features built up imitating the old games just because it really raises the difficulty, like problem
Mm,
saving or the save points only in specific sections of the map, like in the old times or something like that. Because
yeah.
at the end of the day, only survivals are keeping that philosophy when you are basically out on the wild, and if you die, you die. But
Yeah, no, you're right.
that's
It's
why I think. Do you know this one called Northern Lights? It's a survival by a Canadian indie company.
no. Let me look it up. I don't know it.
I mean, there are several survivals, of course, but I really like this one because it brings a lot of these feelings, these bells of um, retro gaming in the sense that, okay, it's very modern and it's quite interesting, but it has a lot of this you lose stuff and you cannot save everything because there are conditions for saving and
Yeah,
for earning and carrying. That's the kind of a spirit that I really like, and it's not so easy to find nowadays. Yeah,
yeah.
this guy.
No, you're right.
Or maybe I'm just old, one of both. Can I inquire the guy? I mean, it's too soon for that. But hey, what are you doing? We are here to play dice. No, it's the yeah. Say, excuse me, inquire. Come on, because I know I can speak with this guy farther on in the plot, but
Hmm.
no, he's just here for some good old gambling. Yeah, and Diana is coming. Maybe I can greet this one. Let's try it. Good day to you. No, inquire this one. No, I don't know. I'm sure I'm going to see later some playthrough on YouTube and discover the stupid thing I'm forgetting to do to progress, and I'm going to hate it.
No, I think we've you know we've gotten
Yeah,
a sense of the game and a feel of the game, and
yeah,
we've talked about very interesting things it does.
That's another good point of revisiting old stuff. It really makes you think a lot about a lot of things, and it really triggers interesting reflections or conversations because
Mm.
yeah, you see a lot of perspective. It's,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I don't know if it's too health well not healthy, but it's not a little bit more boring just to be thinking about the latest release or the games in the last 5 years because
Hmm.
perspective in games is also a thing. Of course, here there is a lot of perspective, of course, a lot of changes, but it's quite interesting not only to think about how much we have changed, but also about how differently we play. When we were saying what expect of a video game, I mean nowadays anything that could be 2 hours is either free, a sample, or simply indie, and it's not expected to be like
Yeah.
trendy. But then you play Chance of Senar, which is not even 10 hours, and depending on how you tackle it, is like really worth of it, or oh, I'm not paying for it because it's short. It depends a lot on the way we tackle games. And back then it was simply, let's see what is this. That
Hmm.
spirit is, I don't know if it's even possible to have that spirit anymore. I mean, trying to have a firewall against social media and so on.
No, yeah. That's a good point, I think.
You think it's even possible today to try the experience of trying a game and the first time that you're discovering anything about the game is the game?
It's possible, I think. Like, I think, for example, I had that with Rise of the Argonauts.
Oh,
Like, I was just in my local video game store and I was browsing to what they had, and I found it. I'd never heard of it. I didn't look anything up about it, so I bought it, put it in the PS3, and played it. So I think it's possible if you in a maybe in a retail space, and I don't know, like on Steam,
hmm.
if you type something in and you find something that maybe you didn't expect to find, then you just you buy it. But I don't, because it's because you have to buy it, then it's you might first look up reviews or something like that. I'm not sure. I think it is possible that it's gotten more difficult in a way as well.
And at the end of the day, in Steam, it's really hard to resist to read anything about it or watch the captures and teaser trailer or whatever. And I mean, we have a very, very strong feeling of checking in YouTube to see a little bit of
Yeah,
play game just to see if it's what we want or we like. You know,
yeah,
it's, I don't know, maybe, I mean, of course, I'm not supporting that you have to get disappointed and all that stuff, but I think it's interesting because I perfectly remember just choosing which game I wanted to play next by the not very matching drawing in the cover of the card box, which were much better design and
yeah.
much more perfect than the game itself. But that was an interesting feeling. Nowadays, as you said, expectations are all around.
It's true, and the people have that there's conventions for what games are or should be, or the medium has evolved, and it's harder to you know to be completely like it's much harder to do something really new nowadays than it was, of course, 30 years ago. um I think, yeah, and even if you do, like it can become controversial. Like I think the last game from Peter Molyneux, the big game designer, or Molyneux, I don't know how to pronounce it. Like his last game, I don't remember the name, but he said he was going to make a city builder game with a mechanic that not a single game earlier before it had. And basically, what you do is you buy land, or you buy patches of land or ground in the game with
Okay.
NFTs. Oh, we're dead again. So you use real money to get NFTs, and then you buy things in the game, which I don't think is something people will be sold on.
Yeah.
But like, I mean that is doing something new, but it's not something that people actually like. You know, want.
Yeah.
They have their expectations. People have their preferred styles and modes of play, and yeah, they look for something like that.
I mean, fair on the side that new doesn't mean that it has to be good, but yeah,
Yeah.
commercially speaking, maybe not the best idea to try to ask for more money.
No, I don't think it is.
uh, Actually, let's inquire here because I know I can rob this woman in the night, but for some reason she's not showing up in the night. Yes, everything costs money. Rome wasn't that capitalistic.
no, not at all. It was a beacon of
Solidarity
yeah, it
and
was like
sharing.
yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Every day I think about the Roman Empire, and every day I think about how you know,
Man, if someone had told me 1 year ago that was going to be a trend, my goodness.
so I mean, I work in classical reception. Even I don't think I think about the Roman Empire every single day.
Exactly,
Hades 2, on the other hand, that's something else. I think about that every single
exactly.
day. I don't think about the Roman Empire.
But thinking about video games, thinking about the Roman Empire.
I don't think Hades 2 will have much Roman Empire references, but you
You
never know.
know, what if you ask me what I think that trend and that stuff coming from the social media is revealing is that at the end of the day, some stereotypes have never been overcome because
Mm,
the antiquity is the Roman Empire. Period. There is nothing else ancient for most of people, and it's so interesting. I mean,
yeah,
how many Greek, Egyptian, and any other place stuff have we already seen and have been very trendy? But at the end of the day, the dominant one is still that one.
yeah,
That's
no,
so interesting.
it's it's you know stereotypes and
Yes, from
popular
what
I, iconicity, I guess.
yeah, but I mean, it could be the same one as in the 60s. That really calls my attention.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, so I finally got the 30 sesterki from this long guy, not precisely, legal, and he expects double the amount in short time. So I really need to buy a slave. So I'm waiting here for the auction. My goodness, the kind of sentences you say with this. Um, this is true. The guy sitting here waiting for the auction, Aquabatics, the water seller, and then no, this is the same one. Domestica already made her. Erotica,
Erotica.
the citizen, yeah, and Vanilla Flavia, the hotelier.
Hotelier. Flavia
Uh,
can be a weight of your mind.
okay, here. This is the auction, and I want to bid for Lecarus. I have never taken my money from the loan. I think I'm going to die quicker this time. So first one, get your slaves.
The
I
dead end
think this
job.
one.
Being a gladiator.
Yeah. Very few prospects here. Laborius Domesticus and Ignominius. Okay, Virginia, I want to bid for Lecarus. This is the one. Okay.
Mhm.
No, no ignominious. I mean, the name is already giving you a hint.
Yeah, no.
Mm, waiting for the bid. I really like the conception of the Roman Forum basically being like a playground with like the children sitting on the floor and just saying things.
Yeah, but they aren't really playing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that if I can make it at least to bring the slave to the Colosseum, we can call it a day because um, then the plot will start unfolding
Yeah,
for the main one. And yeah,
that's
so
our goal. Buy a
yeah,
poor slave and get it to the Colosseum.
exploding some gladiator. That's us. Yeah. Essentially, so many changes from this to Gladiator, and it's 8 years. It's
It is
interesting.
eight
Gladiator
years.
is 8 years
Yeah,
later,
this is older than Gladiator.
and basically here we are the slave trader in Gladiator. Um, yeah, come on, I want to beat. Yes, come on. Why don't you let me beat? Oh, no. Okay, beat. Thank you, sir. Come on, people, don't beat. No, they don't. Offer 10. No one, please. No one offer more. Come on, gentlemen. No, gentlemen, don't come on. My life is at risk. Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
That's great. Thank you. Hey, hold on. Hey, That's the problem with this game many times, that you think you have control it and suddenly some action
So
appears out of the
he
blue.
went away with someone
Yeah,
else.
even when I have beat, apparently it's giving it to someone else. That's the problem of
Oh,
all coding. So I'm going to be killed by some bully working for the guy who gave me the loan. So that's the final spoiler of the night. So sorry, guys.
no.
No, but again, let's take something from my failure. I encourage anyone to explore the possibilities. The gladiatorial fight are the simplest thing in the world, but working on the plot is really interesting. I tell you, don't let it pass.
No, I think this was really nice, and I think we after we've been going for 2 hours, so maybe this is a good
Yeah, I'm surprised that we
point to
have
stop.
gone so long
Uh,
doing nothing. It's amazing.
yeah, I mean we did do a lot. I think
Yeah, that's all. On the other hand, yeah,
we saw the entire Romans. I mean Rome. Yeah. So that was really nice. We saw Pompeii. I mean yeah, the Vesuvius
Herculano.
and
Yeah,
Herculaneum. But
yeah. I
so
think we can
yeah.
leave it in Rome. So let's call it a night. Thank you so much, Alex, for being here tonight, listening to and watching my failure. And thank you, everyone, people.
Yeah, thank you so much for hosting and for uh playing the game. Thanks everyone for joining as well, and tune in tomorrow
Exactly.
as Kate and Jacob continue their playthrough of Pharaoh Total War. They'll be streaming in EST morning, I think. So
Mhm.
that's CET afternoon. So yeah, tune in back to the channel and for some ancient Egyptian shenanigans. Um, so
So
yeah, thank you again, David, and have a nice weekend, everyone.
nice weekend, people.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
bye.